The featured company is a paid client of Proactive Group Holdings, and this recording is disseminated by Proactive on its behalf.
We're in southern Peru. We fit that perfectly. Potentially, we could be one of their biggest suppliers. So they're able to articulate that. Now you've got to put the pieces of that puzzle together, which means, right now we're looking at one of the southern states for a processing facility.
All right, welcome back inside our Proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Michael Williams. He is the chairman of Aftermath Silver. And Michael, it's good to see you. How are you?
Good, Steve. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so the company had some really interesting news about a strategic advisory board. Really, the Global Frontier Advisors is what it is. And it basically will help the company in moving to that next stage of rare earths and all these metals that everyone's looking for these days. So let's take a step back and talk to me a little bit about the process and deciding to go this direction.
Well, it's interesting, Steve, because internally as a company, where we are in the sector, in the sense of, as you mentioned, rare earths, critical metals, there's a chasm forming, bifurcation in our industry. You either will go into the Asia Chinese camp or the US side. And internally, we made a decision that we would like to align with the US, and we would like to process our manganese in the United States. And we can use China as a fallback position, but I know there's a lot of Canadian companies lining up for grants and for US assistance. It's not that easy. You need the right people to put you in front of the key people so that then you can meet their mandates that they're putting forward, which they make it sound like you can just walk into Washington and come away with hundreds of millions of dollars. It's not like that. So you need the right group. And I believe this group that we brought on, our advisory group, which, essentially is two retired three-star US Marine generals and a former ambassador to Venezuela, Colombia, and Afghanistan. So obviously a key person, can navigate those waters in Washington. They set up meetings for us in the Pentagon, Department of Energy. So they've already accomplished the original goal, which was to get us in front of the right people. Now, as a company, we need to deliver for them to make it all work.
Yeah, and you're so right about the people who can get inside of the meetings with people that you need to see, because as you mentioned, there is a lot of companies that are pushing towards trying to do what you're trying to do. But to have someone who's been on the front lines, who's taken orders from or given orders to people who are in positions of power really allows you to take sort of leaps instead of just small steps.
Exactly, Steve. And the other thing that I noticed when we were doing those meetings, the retired generals, they have an understanding of the overall U.S. strategy and how a junior company from Vancouver fits into that and how it can help. Basically, the U.S. is looking at securing critical metals and rare earths in the Western Hemisphere. We're in southern Peru. We fit that perfectly. Potentially, we could be one of their biggest suppliers. So they're able to articulate that. Now you've got to put the pieces of that puzzle together, which means, right now we're looking at one of the southern states for a processing facility. It's not also the federal government. They can bring on the state governments, and you need the infrastructure within those states to make it work. And they certainly can help us accomplish that. And that's what we're working on as we speak.
And because of where your project is, it's a safe jurisdiction, really. It's a well-known mining area.
Yeah.
It's not that your project is, somewhere where, there could be challenges getting what you have out and over to the United States.
No, I think that's one of the key tenets of what they're looking for, that that they will have a constant supply because it's ostensibly in their backyard. And we did meet with some people, senior people in the Peruvian embassy, and they said to me, look, if you do process in the United States, we'll help fast track your permitting, given that we want to see more of our metals end up in the West in the United States than China. A lot of Peruvian copper right now slated to go to China. So I think they want to offset that a little bit. So it's a bit of a perfect storm, so to speak. But one interesting thing we were told when we were doing these meetings, and it's, I think there's bipartisan support for critical metals, certainly to secure the battery metals. But at the same time, we've got 2.5 years to accomplish it or get our ducks in a row, given that administrations change. And, this administration's very aggressive on seeing the US secure critical metals. So they're pulling out all stops, and we want to be part of that. And having a group like GFA certainly fast tracks it for us. And at the end of the day, I think we'll let our results speak for themselves with the U.S. government, let them make a decision. But I feel it's heading in the right direction.
All right, we'll look forward to hearing more about this. A very smart way to go for sure. Michael, thank you so much. Great to see you, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Thanks, Steve. Take care.
All right, pal. Michael Williams, chairman of Aftermath Silver.
The featured company is a paid client of Proactive Group Holdings, and this recording is disseminated by Proactive on its behalf. It is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice, an offer, or a solicitation to buy or sell any securities. Viewers should conduct their own research and consult a qualified financial advisor before making investment decisions. The views expressed are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect those of Proactive Group Holdings, trading as Proactive Investors or its affiliates. No responsibility is accepted for any loss arising from reliance on the information presented.